Yeah, I know, I'm late to the party. I never really played any of the Fear games before. And I think I played 5 minutes of the original on PlayStation 3 back in the day when it released. All I remember did not run well on PlayStation 3, so I skipped it. So many years later, I decided to give it another shot, so I bought the trilogy on Xbox 360 to play on my Series X. So did I like it? Well, let's check it out. The story is pretty simple. You are the point man and part of a special team forces called First Encounter Assault Recon. Basically, four random words called a game fear. You have to go check on a facility where odd things are happening. And when you arrive there, you stumble upon an R rated version of Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. Then it goes downhill with enemies attacking, visions of a creepy girl who likes fire way too much. You also have ghost type creatures that you can actually shoot. Everything in the game is told in a nice way and keeps everything engaging. You also have telephone messages.
You have one new message. First message from Harlan Wade. Mike, it's Harlan Wade. Chuck Haviger's.
It adds to the lore, which I really liked. And I also like the radio broadcast, which reminds me a lot of Max Payne, especially in terms of vibes.
At work when the situation first erupted. No word yet on the welfare of those inside. Since it was
Is it a great narrative experience that is known with modern games today in 2023? No, absolutely not. It's a little bit more simple than that, and I love it for exactly that reason. It definitely feels like a cool sci fi horror movies from the 90s and 2000s. It's fun and can get spooky as well. Little mention, I played the Xbox 360 copy on the Xbox Series X, so it may change from the original hardware. This game still looks great, especially for an earlier 360 title. Character models may look outdated, but overall the game looks great. The light and shadow effects are amazing, especially for that generation. It sets the tone of the game. It creates this spooky atmosphere. It took what it had at the time and created a cool world to explore. You have to go through warehouses, sewers, and of course, it's a horror game. You definitely have a secret lab in there. You have characters disappearing into smoke, and it kind of reminds me of Avengers Infinity War.
Come on. You ready? Go!
This game is also so brutal, you can shred your enemies into pieces, flashes of blood everywhere, limbs flying, and this is even more fun with the addition of slow motion. Fear also has an effect where enemy body transforms into bones. Kind of reminds me a lot like the movie Mars Attack. This one is very fun to play. It's basically a first person shooter where you can slow down time. Slowing down time helps a lot when a lot of enemies are after you, but I feel it's there mostly for the gore effects. The gunplay is fun, but the controls are very old school. There are a few different kinds of weapons. You have pistols, shotguns, submachine guns, assault rifles. There are more creative weapons like a nail gun that actually nails enemies to the wall. And I freaking love that gun. There is also a weapon that burns enemies into skeletons. That is also a really fun weapon to use. However, all these weapons are fun, but they limit the player to only two weapons. I'm kind of not a fan of this, especially when you have an arsenal of fun weapons to use. Since I played on the Xbox Series X, frame rate was smooth for the most part. However, I did experience a few hiccups here and there. I can see why console port had issues. Personally, I witnessed skip frames during gameplay. For example, when I blasted an enemy into pieces, the animation of blowing up in pieces was not there, and it just seemed like the enemy vanished in thin air. It was really weird. The levels can be confusing. Sometimes I got lost, and usually I found my way in a matter of minutes. So here are my final thoughts. At the end of the day, I enjoy my first time playing Fear. It's an effective horror game, a fun shooter. It mixes everything well, creepy and fun. The final boss might be a little bit lackluster, but it's okay. I give this 4 fire starters out of 5.